So Indignation, which is the latest Philip Roth adaptation. If you remember last week, we had American Pastoral, which was the directorial debut for Ewan McGregor, which got slagged by a lot of critics, but I preferred it to The Human Stain, and I have to confess I'm not a huge Philip Roth fan. Now this from James Schamus, who's the writer who's worked largely with Ang Lee, again turning to direction by adapting a Philip Roth. I mean, he did, Ice Storm and Lost Caution. So set in the early 50s, Logan Lerman is Marcus, who is this angsty young Jewish intellectual who goes to college, where he finds himself immediately put in a room with two other Jewish students, despite the fact that actually he doesn't want to be part of any group. He doesn't want to be part of the Jewish fraternity. He's an avowed atheist. He's very concerned about the way in which he is defined by, by who he is and his heritage and that sort of thing. Anyway, so he finds himself out of sorts. He finds himself wanting to keep his own company from everybody other than Sarah Gadon's Olivia Hutton, with whom he embarks upon a stop-start relationship. Starts because he's very taken with her and he asks her out, and it stops because he basically does not know how to handle her forwardness in matters of the flesh. Here's a clip.
Thank you for talking to me.
If I talk to you again, maybe you won't have to stand under my window all the time.
Oh. It's funny. I don't actually know which window is yours.
I'm on the third floor, on the left, facing the quad, just for the record. I rarely see you looking up. If you're not a peeping Tom, what's the point?
Because it just makes me feel as if, like I'm making sure you're okay.
Oh, Marcus, I'm fine. It's you I'm worried about.
It's an odd little film, and I know that many people are huge fans of Philip Roth, and as I said before, I'm not. I'm very agnostic about his novels. I've read I think 2 or 3, and I confess that I read them because I was working for a review program, so they're not stuff to which I would turn naturally. This returns to all the standard themes: anxiety about women, anxiety about identity, anxiety about religion, anxiety about anxiety, and occasionally these narratives sort of seem to be a little bit like a Woody Allen narrative, but without the jokes. And I'm not entirely sure that they are as deep and profound as perhaps some people think. There are, however, some pleasures in this, not least Tracy Letts as Dean Caldwell, who is just terrific. There is one sequence in which it is a huge conversation between the dean and the student, who is the Roth stand-in, in which the dean is basically saying, you're not fitting in, and I need to know why you're not fitting in. And they start having an argument about the existence of God and the non-existence of God, and the right of anybody to define anybody else by their religious persuasion or otherwise, and why it is necessary to rack up a certain number of church attendances in order to graduate. And this one sequence itself, just because it's a kind of masterclass in acting, really makes the thing fly. And then you're then aware that everything else isn't quite up to that standard. I mean, I think it's a solid piece of work. It's not doing anything new, and it's not telling me anything that I didn't kind of know before. But on the strength of, it is worth seeing on the strength of Tracy Letts alone, who is just absolutely terrific. But other than that, it does seem to fall into that same bracket of Philip Roth. I was talking about Kurt Vonnegut being hard to put on screen. Philip Roth, very hard to put on screen.